Good morning, friends. Today we'll continue our lesson on chemistry, chapter number 1. Before we continue, let us recall what we did yesterday. Yesterday we understood the concept of matter, everything that we have in our surroundings, and the definition of matter was matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Then we saw that matter is made up of very minute particles, and those particles have space between them. They are in constant motion and the particles have a force of attraction amongst themselves, right? And there were a few activities that we discussed: how the salt dissolves in water. So the particles of salt break up into very minute particles and get adjusted in the space between the water particles. The activity of the potassium permanganate, which turns the water pink, and the ink, which turns the water blue. Then we saw the solid, liquid and the gaseous states. In the solid state, what was there? They are rigid, they cannot flow, they cannot be compressed very easily. Yes, and liquids and gases, they flow. Liquids take the shape of the container, they have a definite volume but no definite shape. So no matter which jar you pour it in, the volume will remain the same, but the shape changes according to the shape of the container. And gases have no definite shape or no definite volume. Also, the attraction of the particles in solid is quite high, so the particles hold each other tightly and do not allow the solid particles to flow. In liquid, the force is less, so the particles can flow, but only in certain directions. It cannot flow upwards. While gases, the force of attraction is very low, and the gases can flow in almost all the directions. Yes, because it is very low. Now today we will continue with the topics and try to understand the concepts further. So, through diffusion, what we can see, what was diffusion? Diffusion was the movement of particles from the region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, which makes the particles to move. Now in solid, the particles are closely packed. We have got a solid and you can see the diagram. The particles are very closely packed. Because they are closely packed, there is very less space between the particles. So these particles cannot move freely, but they can only vibrate in their own place. Yesterday we also learned that when you increase the temperature, then the particles move faster. And when they move faster, they travel faster, so diffusion is faster. So the movement of the particles is kinetic energy, and the rise in the temperature raises the kinetic energy and the particles start to move faster. But now you see the picture is given here, the solid, the particles are very closely packed. If you observe, you can see almost no space between the particles. Yes, here in the solids, they are very closely packed. So they can only vibrate in their own place. This is very important for the further topics, so understand carefully. In liquids, the particles are quite far. You can see there is some space here. The particles can move around, and hence liquids are fluids, they can flow because the particles can move around. But liquid does not flow upward. Yesterday we also saw that liquids and gases, because they flow, they hit the walls of the container, exerting a pressure on the walls of the container. And in gases, you can see the particles are far apart, so force of attraction between the particles is very low. Yes, and the motion is very high. So the particles can move in any direction very freely. Gases can even move upwards. Gases can move upwards. Liquid cannot move upwards. Right? So we are understanding the difference between solids, liquids and gases based on what? Their particles. How closely they are packed. So when they are packed closely, space in the solid is almost negligible. There is some space in liquids and there is lot of space in the gases. This can only vibrate in their own place, the solids. The liquids can move and the gases can move very freely. But the force of attraction is very high in the solids. It is medium in the liquids, and the force of attraction is very less in the gases. So this is the difference in the solid, liquid and gases based on what? How closely they are packed, that is the space between them, and how the particles hold each other by their force of attraction. So once we understand the solid, liquid and gas, we move to the next topic, that is changes in the state of matter. So now we will see how solids turn into liquids, liquids turn into gas, gas turn into liquid, and liquids turn into solid. Now here we have taken water. Why water? Because water can be seen in nature in all the three states. Yes, naturally. You see solid as ice on the mountains, very high mountains, Himalayas is ice, Antarctica is ice, the Arctic region is ice. Water, you know the familiar water we have, liquid, all the seas, lakes, rivers around the world, the water, and water vapor. The clouds contain water vapor. So water is the element which is freely seen in all the three states in nature. So now the same water turns into ice. Same water turns into water vapor and form clouds. The ice melts to form water and the water vapor condenses to form water. So here what is happening, there is change in the state of matter. The same material water H2O is getting converted from liquid to solid or liquid to gas or from solid to liquid and gas to liquid. So now we have to understand what is this phenomenon which does this conversion of matter and why do these states of matter change. Yes, so let us go for an explanation. So first we understand melting. So when you provide heat, or you can say increase the temperature of solids. So what we saw in solids, the molecules are closely packed, they cannot move freely, they can only vibrate in their own place. And the force of attraction between the particles is very high. They hold each other very tightly. When you increase the temperature, we are increasing the kinetic energy of the particles. Kinetic energy means what? The particles are now moving faster and faster and the movement is increasing, so they start vibrating with greater speed. So as you keep on increasing the temperature, it starts vibrating more faster with greater speed. So its kinetic energy is increasing. Now when you keep on giving it energy for a very long time, there comes a time that this kinetic energy overcomes the force of attraction between the particles. Means the force of attraction is holding the particles together, but the particles have now started to vibrate very fast and it is gaining energy. At one point it gains so much energy that it can overcome the force of attraction, means the particles can now no longer hold themselves. When the particles cannot hold themselves, they will start to separate. And when they will start to separate, a condition might come that the particles become as far as the liquid. So at that point, the solid is turning into liquid. So the particles leave their fixed positions and start moving freely. And then I told you a stage is reached when the particles come so apart, same in the case of a liquid. So here the solid is turning into a liquid. This process is called melting. Okay, so what is melting? The melting is the conversion of solid state into liquid state. Now what is melting point? I have written in the red, let us read the letters in red. The temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid at the atmospheric pressure is called the melting point. So different materials have different melting points. Okay, some materials have got a very high melting point and some materials have got a very low melting point. So what is the melting point? It's a temperature, fixed temperature. How do you measure the temperature? With the help of a thermometer. So what activity you need to do here? You have to take a beaker in which you put ice cubes or crushed ice, okay, and insert the thermometer inside the ice. the thermometer may show a reading which is say 0 degree or little less than 0 degree, whatever, and slowly you start to heat the ice or allow the ice to stay in the atmosphere, gaining the heat from the atmosphere. Now as the ice is getting hotter, the temperature starts to rise slowly. But you will notice when the ice reaches 0 degree, it stays at 0 degree, and at that 0 degree, the ice starts turning into water. So what is the melting point of ice? The melting point of ice is 0 degree Celsius or 273 minus 273 degree, sorry, minus 273 Kelvin. We do not use the word degree in Kelvin. It is 0 degree Celsius or minus 273 Kelvin. Okay. So ice can melt easily. Does salt melt easily? No. Does iron melt easily? No. So some substances melt very easily at low temperatures and some materials need very high temperatures to melt. So you can also say the melting point of a solid is an indication of the strength or force of attraction between its particles. Means if the force of attraction is high, the melting point will be high. If the particles are holding each other very strongly, then a lot of heat is required to break them apart. Means a very high temperature is needed. So when you provide a lot of heat, only then the particles will separate. So what does the melting point indicate? It indicates the strength of the force of attraction between the particles. Again I say, in iron, the iron particles hold each other very strongly. So 0 degree Celsius, the iron will not melt. Even if you put iron in the sun, it does not melt. Why it does not melt? Because the force of attraction is too high. At this point, you have to provide a lot of it, say almost 3000 degrees Celsius or 3500, 3600 degrees Celsius. At that point, the iron will melt. So, if the particles are holding very strongly, then the melting point will be high. So, lot of heat is required. The melting point, when the melting point is high. So, what is the melting point again? The temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid at the atmospheric pressure is called the melting point. Is it clear to you? So, I told you the activity you can do, we can do in the laboratory later. When we start with the practicals, we put the ice cubes into a beaker, we insert the thermometer inside it and we let it to let it to melt. So while it is melting, the temperature you will see it is 0 degree. So the melting point of ice is 0 degree Celsius. So this was the phenomenon of melting. So melting is what? The change of state from a solid to a liquid is called melting. Okay. Now, like I told you, any material, so what is the melting point of ice? I told you is 273.16 Kelvin. Yes. Now, when the melting is taking place, so what did you do? We had the ice, we are providing the heat. As we provide the heat, the temperature is increasing. Now the temperature reaches 0 degree. At 0 degree, you are providing the heat, but the temperature is not increasing. Are you following? When a solid is melting, the temperature remains the same. So the question arises, where does this heat energy go? When you heat something, you will notice that in the thermometer, the temperature is increasing. Right? The temperature is increasing. But when the ice starts to melt, then the temperature is not increasing. We are heating the material, but the temperature is not increasing. So where is this heat energy going? Okay, the temperature isn't changing, and it won't change till all the ice melt. We are continue to heat the beaker, we are continue to supply heat, but the temperature isn't changing. So where does the energy go? All this heat we have given. So in the process of melting, the solid state is changing into the liquid state. Yes, solid state turns into liquid state, and that is known as melting or also called fusion. Okay. Now you can see we are heating the ice. The ice is taking the heat energy, but not showing any rise in the temperature. The temperature is not increasing. So this energy is hidden in the contents of the beaker, and this heat is called latent heat. Latent heat means what? Hidden heat. And why it is hidden heat? Because we are providing the heat, but the temperature is not increasing at all. We are providing the heat, the temperature is not increasing, so the heat is called latent heat, and latent means hidden. The heat is hidden. You are heating the ice is turning into water, the temperature is not increasing, so this heat is hidden heat or called latent heat. Okay, but where does this heat go? So the heat is providing the energy to separate the particles, to overcome the force of attraction. So the temperature does not rise because all this energy is used up in separating the particles. So that is called the latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion or melting is what? When the ice is turning into water, the energy to separate the particles. It is used to separate the particles, so the temperature does not rise, and hence the heat is hidden, which is called latent heat. So I have defined it in the red letters. The amount of heat that is required to change 1 kg of a solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point. This is very important. Where will the solid turn into liquid? At its melting point. But what happens when you provide the heat? The temperature is not increasing. And why? The amount of heat energy required to change from solid into liquid means the energy is required to now separate the particles. So all the energy which is there is separating the particles, hence the temperature will not rise and the heat will remain hidden. So this hidden heat is called latent heat of fusion. So particles in water, this is not 0, actually it is 0 degree. So to write 0 degree. So at 0 degree, the particles in water at 0 degree, that is 273.16 Kelvin, have more energy compared to ice at the same temperature. Okay, so you understood what it means to say we had ice at 0 degree, we have water at 0 degree because it is converted from solid to liquid. So we have ice at 0 degree and we have liquid, means water at 0 degree. Who possesses more energy? Yes, the answer is water. Why the water? Because the ice kept on taking the heat energy and got converted into water, but there was no increase in the temperature. So ice and water both are at 0 degree, but water had taken all the energy to get converted from solid into liquid, so that is why water will have more energy than the ice. So they are telling us here the particles in the water are moving faster than the particles in the ice, because the particles in the water have got more energy than the particles in the ice. So this was melting, also called fusion, and latent heat is the hidden heat of fusion. In the same way, now we have boiling. So what is boiling? So go further now. When you heat the solid, it started vibrating, got enough energy, the particles got separated, turned into a liquid. Now keep on providing heat to the liquid. So as you are providing heat to the liquid, the particles are gaining more and more energy. It is moving faster and faster and faster. So when you keep on supplying the heat energy to water, the particles move even faster. Now comes a temperature at which the particles still break out further and become very free. Yes, and they have enough energy to break that force of attraction. Now liquids also have a force of attraction, but now we are providing heat, so even those particles have got so much energy, now they can become very free when move around. At this point, at this temperature, the liquid starts turning into a gas. Yes, so the temperature at which the liquid starts boiling at the atmospheric pressure is known as boiling point. And what is the meaning of start to boil? At that point, the liquid is turning into a gas. The liquid has the force of attraction between particles which was lesser than solids, but it is still having the force of attraction. When we provide the heat, The heat is giving more energy to the particles. The particles are vibrating very strongly now, gaining the energy, and the movement is becoming faster. There comes a point when the particle gains so much energy that they still overcome the force of attraction of particles in liquid and break apart fully. At this point, it turns into a gas. And the temperature at which the liquid starts to turn into gas, it's called its boiling point. So boiling is a bulk phenomenon. What does a bulk phenomenon mean? Yes, bulk means all the particles of the liquid are gaining energy simultaneously. So particles from the bulk of the liquid gain enough energy to change into a vapor state. Now, what is the boiling point of water? It's 100 degrees Celsius, or we can say 373 Kelvin. Okay, so here the boiling takes place. Now comes the question, like we had the latent heat of fusion, do we have the latent heat of evaporation? Boiling is a temperature 100 degrees Celsius, but sometimes the evaporation takes place at room temperature. But again, in both the phenomena, liquid is turning into gas. So like we had the latent heat of fusion, do we have the latent heat of boiling, also called the latent heat of evaporation? The hidden heat? Yes. The answer is there is. Again, when you heat the liquid, as the liquid is gaining the heat, the temperature is also increasing. Now there comes a point at which the liquid is gaining the heat, but the temperature is not increasing. So if the temperature is not increasing, then where does this heat go? So like in fusion, same thing happens here. This time the heat is used to break up the particles far apart and turning the liquid into a gas. So here the liquid is gaining the heat, the particles are going apart, but the temperature is not rising. So we cannot see any rise in temperature. So again, this heat is a hidden heat. Hidden heat means we cannot see this heat as a rise in temperature. So particles in steam, that is in water vapor, at which temperature? 373 Kelvin. They have got more energy. And why the more energy? The same way. In liquid, there is energy, the particles are moving. In gases, they are moving more faster, more apart. Temperature has remained the same, but when the liquid turns into a gas, it has gained more energy. And that is why steam burns more than boiling water. If you have noticed, you take a hot potato, and when you are eating a hot potato, it may look hot from the outside. But when the potato breaks into your mouth and releases the steam from inside, it burns your face more. So when you eat something which is boiling hot, yes, what happens is, even in the Chinese soup, if you are having a Chinese soup, it may look cold on the top. But when you break the cover and the heat is released, heat, yes, why? In the form of the vapor. The vapor is much more hotter than the liquid, because all the energy that was taken by the liquid to convert in the gas is stored in the gas as the latent heat. So even on the chapati, if you touch the chapati, it is hot, but when you break the chapati and the vapor comes out, then it is much more hotter. Means it's not hotter in terms of temperature, but it has more heat, more energy than the chapati. So it burns us more. Okay, so the particles in steam have absorbed extra energy. So what is the latent heat of vaporization then? It is the hidden heat. So the definition, the amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kg of liquid into gas. Now we are turning liquid into gas. At atmospheric pressure, at its boiling point, is called the latent heat of evaporation. The latent heat of vaporization. You can name it two things. It is also called the latent heat of vaporization. So what is the latent heat of vaporization? It is the hidden heat. When the liquid is turning into gas, all the heat which is taken in does not rise the temperature, does not raise the temperature, right? So all that heat is hidden, and that is called the latent heat of vaporization. So today we have done only two good concepts: how the matter changes from solid to liquid, liquid to gas. Yes, so how does it change from solid to liquid? On providing heat, the particles are getting energy. They start vibrating faster. Yes, at one point it gains so much energy that it overcomes the force of attraction and separate. Here the solid turns into liquid. As you keep on providing heat, the particles of liquid are gaining energy. They keep on gaining energy. At one point they gain so much energy that the particles are still separated further and it turns into a gas. At both these points, when we provide heat, when solid is turning into liquid, heat is taken in, but temperature is not rising. So the heat goes in the conversion from solid to liquid, and because the temperature is not rising, we cannot see any change in temperature. This is called hidden heat or latent heat of fusion. In the same way, when water turns into water vapor, yes, you cannot see any change in temperature. So that hidden heat is called latent heat of vaporization. So steam has got more energy than boiling water. Steam can throw. What happens when a person is burning? We never throw water on the person. Yes, because the water will become hot and the steam will burn the person more. So we always cover the burning person with a blanket. When we want to save a burning person, we always should cover him with a blanket. If you throw water on him, then the scalding becomes more. So these are some principles that we should be knowing. Yes. So here is a last chart in the end. We'll end the topic here today. So how does the interconversion of state take place? What is interconversion of states of matter? Solid on heating turns into liquid and liquid on heating turns into gas. So here we are giving heat to the solid, we are giving heat to solid, it turns into liquid. And then we give more heat to the liquid, it turns into gas. Then there is also a reverse procedure called cooling. But there is cooling. What does cooling mean? We take out the heat from the gas, put it in a refrigerator. So when you take out the heat from the gas, you cool it, it turns into a liquid. When you take out the heat from the liquid and cool it more, it turns into a solid. Now what happens here? When you pull out the heat from a gas, you are taking out its energy. The particles become slower now. And when they become slower, what happens? They start losing energy. At one point, they lose such energy that the particles will now come near and then attract each other by the force of attraction. At that point, the gas turns into a liquid. As you pull it further, the energy is going down. The particles are not moving faster now. So they are coming closer. When they come closer, then the force of attraction will hold them, and at that point, the liquid turns into a solid. Okay? So what we can say, the word for gas turning into liquid and the liquid turning into solid, we know solid to liquid was called melting. Yes, and liquid to gas was called boiling. Gas to liquid is called condensation. Yes, the condensation. Condensation means gas to liquid, and liquid to solid is called freezing. We freeze the ice now. So melting and freezing are opposite. Melting turns solid into liquid, freezing turns liquid into solid. Boiling turns liquid into gas, and condensation turns gas into liquid. So here we are ending the topic for today. So here we have seen what we have seen in the lecture today, the interconversion of states of matter and heat energy changes from the material from solid to liquid and liquid to gas. And how does it do that? We also understood that by providing heat energy, the particles move faster, and at one point they get energy for the particles to separate, and there the change of state takes place. So this was the topic for today. I hope you will remember all the definitions, all the keywords, and the concept how matter changes its state. Okay, so we are done for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.